What's up, everyone? Welcome to Ashley Talks Movies, and here is my review of The Bride, the new movie from writer and director Maggie Gyllenhaal. Christian Bale stars as Frank, a lonely version of Frankenstein's monster who travels to Chicago to ask a mad scientist, played by Annette Bening, to create a companion for him. After digging up the body of a recently deceased woman named Ida, played by Buckley, the doctor and Frank bring her back to life as the bride. Before I jump into the review, if you'd like to support the channel, there are a couple of ways you can do that. Make sure you subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Also, join the discussion, jump into the comments, and share your thoughts about the movie.
What happened?
You had an accident.
An accident, huh?
We dug you up, and we brought you back to life.
The Bride is an ambitious, bold, messy experiment where Maggie Gyllenhaal reimagines the Bride of Frankenstein, both the character and the tale, with monsters and mobsters. You have to admire a filmmaker who comes along and does something different, though. We're always complaining about the lack of creativity and originality in Hollywood, so it's refreshing that Gyllenhaal took such a big swing with this project. And it's clear from watching The Bride that she had a lot that she wanted to say and a lot that she wanted to do. And so the movie is packed with a lot of ideas. Some of them are brilliant, inspired even, and some of them are just baffling. And that's what makes The Bride such a mixed bag. So I'll start off with what worked, what really clicked in this movie. And first and foremost, it was the performances. The acting in this movie is incredible. Buckley is spectacular, and she delivers this very layered performance. And her character is trying to piece together who she is. She had a very dark past, and then when she's reanimated, she doesn't know anything about that past. She doesn't know her name. She doesn't know anything about herself. And so Buckley has to kind of always play this line, this duality with this character who is both vulnerable and volatile. Christian Bale is also great. He plays Frank. This is a version of Frankenstein's monster. And this version is less childlike and a little bit more articulate than some of the other interpretations of this character. And Christian Bale brings this vulnerability to this character, a charm to this character. Frank has lived a very long but lonely life, and he's very emotional. And it's really easy to see once you get past Frank's rugged exterior that he's really just ultimately someone who is looking for connection. You also get some solid performances from Peter Sarsgaard, Penelope Cruz, Annette Bening, and Jake Gyllenhaal, who I all thought were fantastic, but also very underutilized, especially when it comes to Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, the cinematography is another area where The Bride excels. This movie just looks incredible, and the cinematography is stunning. The sets are gorgeous. Even all the different locations where this movie takes us look amazing. From the doctor's lab to these night shots around the city with these back alleys and the neon lights. The hair and makeup is also really well done, especially what they do with the bride's hair. And I even appreciated how they incorporated nods to the classic Bride of Frankenstein look into some of the costumes that Buckley wears. Now, where I think people are going to have trouble with this movie, where I think audiences are going to be split, is with the narrative. This movie takes a very unconventional approach to the storytelling, and I don't think the marketing has really helped this movie. You know, it's being marketed as this sort of 1930s gangster movie with bit of Bonnie and Clyde and a little bit of a classic monster love story thrown in. And it is that, but it's also a lot more. In fact, it's just a ton of different genres and a ton of different tones and a ton of different styles. And I think that's where the movie gets really, really messy. Now, some of the ideas that Maggie Gyllenhaal is throwing out there work. And then some of them make you pause and go, what was that? Now, as the movie goes on, more and more ideas are thrown into the mix, and the story really starts to meander. So much is crammed in here, and unfortunately, not all of it comes together. There's a lot of social commentary in this movie. It's exploring these ideas of consent and agency, and I thought for the most part the movie did a good job with exploring those ideas, but you also get this really big female empowerment message throughout this movie, and unfortunately, at least for me, it didn't land in the way I think Maggie Gyllenhaal intended it to land. I'm talking about a very specific scene in this movie where the message is so in your face and it just felt so forced and it fell flat. Overall, I don't think The Bride is a complete misfire, although the movie is a mess. I liked it, but I didn't love it. And part of the reason was because there were so many different ideas that were thrown out here, and unfortunately, they didn't all come together. This is a very disjointed movie. It's sad because this movie had all the makings to be great. I mean, I already mentioned that there are several things in this movie that are done really, really well. And then there are other things that are done not so well, that are just absolutely baffling in the choices that were made here. And it sort of undercuts some of the good parts of this movie that really stand out. It'll be really interesting to see how general audiences respond to this movie because, as I already said, this movie's being marketed one way, but the actual movie you get is something really different and weird and out there. So those are my thoughts on The Bride, which is out in theaters. Do you plan on seeing it? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. So that does it for me, everyone. I'll see you next time. And as always, thanks for watching.